So, back in the hotel. So, this one is probably going to be kind of controversial, but stick with me and I think you'll understand my explanation on it. So, I firmly believe that you should avoid buying mining GPUs. Now, it is not for the reason that you think. So, I agree with I think Linus has done the video. I think Gamers Nexus may have done the video where they tested mined on GPUs, and I buy a ton of used parts. So obviously I encounter mined on parts. So I have never had a card fail that I knew was a mining card. So my reason for recommending against buying them is not the risk of failure. So my reason is coming as a reseller, as somebody who sells systems, and I don't just sell systems on eBay or to, nameless, faceless people. When I sell these systems, I'm having really, really personal interactions with these buyers, sometimes for an hour plus at a time. We'll sit around. Sometimes after my sales, I'll sit around and I'll talk tech with people for sometimes hours. And my problem with a mined on card is that it devalues the card, and I am an honest seller. So I don't necessarily, I'm not going to put in the ad, i7, 9600 or 9700K, 32 gigs of RAM, such and such motherboard, GTX 1080 Ti, and then in parentheses at the end, mined on. I'm not going to do that. I don't feel that you need to go that deep in disclosure, but I do believe that if somebody asks, is it a mined on card? And that you should be honest. And here's the thing. Even if the seller that you bought the card from didn't explicitly tell you that it was mined on, you can usually tell. Usually sellers that sell mined on cards, their ads, almost always, maybe not always, there's always exception, but usually sellers that are selling their mined on cards, they'll have photos where like behind them, they'll have a bunch of GPUs just laid out, and it'll usually be like, I don't know, it'll usually be like a mix of 1060s, 1070s, 1080s, or maybe a mix of like 3070s, 3080s, or they'll even just straight up have a photo of their box, their open frame box with a bunch of GPUs on it, and you'll see the riser cables. I mean, come on. You know what these people used them for. Another reason why I would recommend staying away from mined on GPUs is honestly, most former mined on card sellers, they consider getting the cost of their cards back a big part of their value proposition. And quite often those cards aren't even a better deal than a non-mined on card. And look, I get you can make the argument, an argument I buy into, to be fair, that there's nothing wrong with the card. That's fair. But I'm not paying you the same or more for a card that I know was mined on versus one that I don't. If for no other reason than the fact that takes my ability to tell a buyer, no, this card wasn't mined on, off the table. And I almost guarantee you, unless that buyer is a really tech-savvy person, the moment you tell them that the card was mined on, they're going to say, nope, do you have a different card? Can you put a different card in it? And it's not even going to be a better deal. If market value on a 1080 Ti today, I think is like $150. If you offered me I find them for $100 if I dig. So if you offer me a mined on, a good one, like let's say you offer me a Gigabyte Aorus Extreme 1080 Ti and you tell me it's been mined on and you offer it to me for $50, you know what? I'm probably going to buy the card. And when I sell it, I'm going to discount the system accordingly. I'm going to discount it $50 cheaper than I would otherwise sell it for. And I'm going to, in that case, I am going to disclose that, yes, I discounted the system. I've tested the card thoroughly. It was mined on, but I tested it thoroughly and I believe the card is good. So that's my take on it. So to all the miners out there that are going to try to tell me, oh no, I undervolt my cards, I do it right, I don't damage my cards. I believe you. I totally believe you. This isn't about whether or not your hardware is good or whether or not you're selling broken parts. This is about the devaluation that it has on the secondhand market, unless you just lie that it wasn't a mind-on card. And I won't do that. If after I've spent, an hour dealing with somebody personally, if they look at me point blank and say, hey, do you know if the card was mined on? I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to say, yeah, it was mined on. And I don't want to have to tell them that. So I'm just going to avoid buying the mind on card in the first place, unless it's for one of my own systems that I know I'm not going to sell anytime soon and I don't care. So anyway, I hope you guys found this informative, and I hope some of these videos you guys actually listen to what I'm saying. I know people like to come on here and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a clue. I do have a clue. I've been buying and selling technology for 20 years. I know what I'm talking about. Like I've never actually come out and really truly said that in a video before, but I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for so long. I can see trends. I know what I'm talking about. So I hope you guys listen to me on this stuff and take a little bit of the advice. Anyway, thanks for watching the video.